Hi there, join me in this video when I'm back in Lathkilldale. I found this really lovely location about 2 or 3 years ago, and as you can see behind me, it's a lovely valley. We're just coming into autumn, so some of the leaves are starting to turn really nice golden colours. And what I really like about this location is the wildlife that you can see, because a little bit further up the river where we're heading now are some weirs that were put in to make fishing pools, and they attract lots of bird life. And in particular, I'm hoping to see some dippers again today, but in the past I've seen swan, I've seen yellow wagtails, little grebe and others as well. So come along with me, because I know that I'm really going to enjoy my photography. Another great thing about this location is that the fishing pools are only about 200 metres away from where you park the car. So I'm walking along this short path now to get to them, and along the way there is also a space where you can overlook the river and even get down into the river, because it gets quite shallow, and I have seen dippers at that location as well in the past. So I'm going to be there very shortly, and so I'm going to stop there and see what I can see. No sign of dippers here in the river, but I've just had a fly pass from a quite vocal grey wagtail. Now, I didn't manage to get its photograph because it was flying and it didn't stop to perch anywhere, but it's good signs for later on as I get a little bit further up to the weirs. There is definitely a lot less water in the river than there has been in previous years, because where I'm standing at the moment, this time last year would have been completely covered in water, because this is the last weir in the sequence before the river ends up going off back down Lathkilldale. And so I don't think that will really affect what I see this morning, because further up it looks like there's plenty of water in all of the pools, but with this being the last weir, this one is fairly dry. This morning I've brought my portable hide, so I've just put the gear down and walked up here to set up the seat. And before I did that, I was taking a photograph of this swan here on the river behind me, and as I walked back to get the camera equipment just over here on this weir, I saw my first dipper, but I couldn't get back to the camera quick enough to take its photograph. But it's good signs that they're definitely about, so I'm really hopeful that I'll get some photographs before the morning's out. If this is your first time visiting the channel, you can do me a really big favour and click the like, subscribe and the bell notifications. Not only does it really help out the channel, but it makes sure that you don't miss out on any future photographic content. Also, I've got a Teespring store, so go and check out the merchandise. I've set up my base of operations here in the middle of the weirs so I can see all of the main fishing pools. Now last year I found that I didn't even really need to sit in the hide to see the dippers. I got some of my best photographs when I wasn't even sat in the hide. But while I've been setting this up, I've also got a photograph of a little grebe that's in one of these pools just to my left. And so I can see all of these weirs here behind me. And then if I show you further up the river, I've got some trees just here that are overhanging this pool. And then further up the river, just here, I've got more pools that I'm going to keep an eye on. So I'm about in the middle of all of these pools. So hopefully I should see something fairly soon. I had a little wander up the river as far as I can go, and while I was doing that I saw two little grebe and got them both in the same shot, which is slightly unusual. I've also photographed the grey wagtail as well, which is another bird to add to the photograph count this morning. So what I've decided to do is just sit down on my seat, and I've not put the top over the hide because I think it's just going to be unnecessary. The birds don't seem to be bothered by my presence here this morning, and if I put the top over the hide it just limits my field of view. Where I am now I can look down the river and up the river and just keep my eye out for anything that's happening without being restricted by the hide. So I don't think at the moment it's going to be much help, so I'm just going to sit still for a while to see what happens, because the only thing I've not actually managed to photograph yet are the dippers, but I do know they're about because I got that brief sighting earlier on. So the patience has really paid off. I've been sat here now for about 15 minutes only, and a grey wagtail flew down the river and landed on a weir, the next weir over. So I decided I was going to stalk it, and I stealthily moved towards it, and when I felt I was close enough I took a picture just so I'd got one in the bag. But then I moved closer still, nice and carefully, until I got within 10 metres of the grey wagtail, and I got some video and photographs of it on the weir, and then I got probably one of the best shots of the morning so far, where the grey wagtail jumped onto a little promontory that was sticking up on the top of the weir, and it had water behind it, so it was a nice clean backdrop, and it stayed there for quite a while, and I got some photographs and video of it in profile, and I'm really happy with those photographs. I've been sat here now for over 2 hours, and I was just about to start to film a piece to camera to say that I've been seeing lots of birds. It's been really peaceful, but I've still not managed to see the dipper. But just before I started that, over to my right I saw something diving into the water. Now it's quite a long distance away, so again I edged a little bit closer, and surely enough it was a dipper. Now it was still a little bit far away, it wasn't as close as I would have liked it, but I managed to get lots of photographs and video of it diving under the water by the weir, and so if I see nothing else now this morning I can go home happy. What I'll do now is I'll leave you with some of my best shots from the morning, and don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video to see my favourite. What a great morning of photography that's been. I've had such a peaceful, relaxing morning sat here by this river. It's been so enjoyable, but I've got lots of photographs as well to take away with me. I saw those grey wagtail, I've seen lots of mallard and the swan of course, but I've also seen the little grebe, and then to top it off I saw the dipper just over here on this weir here behind me, and I got lots of video and photograph of that, which is what I was really hoping for this morning. And so I'm going away a really happy photographer. What I'll do now is I'll show you my favourite photograph of the morning. I couldn't really not choose a dipper as my favourite photograph, and I used it for my thumbnail, so that kind of preempted what my favourite photograph would be. But I just like this photograph because it shows off the dipper with no distractions at all. It just landed on this tiny little bit of branch sticking out of the water in profile, and it really showed it off really well, and I'm really pleased with this photograph, the way that you can see all of the detail and the feathers on its back, and I've managed to hold the white details on its breast as well, which is not always easy, but I really like this photograph. If you have enjoyed this video, I'll link another one that you might enjoy just up here. You can do me a really big favour by clicking the like, subscribe and the bell notifications. Don't forget, if you've got any comments, you can leave them down below or visit my Instagram, Vero or Facebook account. But all that's left now is to say, stay safe and I'll see you soon.